But what's happened in just the last couple of years with TikTok and Reels and this infinite scroll is that we're getting over 15,000 messages a day. And so, how do you create a message? How do you tell a story that gets through the noise, that sticks with people, and has an impact to your brand and in terms of your revenue? So that's what we're going to talk about. Because when I first started in the online marketing industry, my brother and I here, back almost 30 years ago, it was a much different place. Some of you may remember this website. This is what it looked like when we first started in the industry. It's evolved quite a bit since then. And what's interesting is back then we weren't big fans of Amazon. We saw some of the things that they were doing, but we're like, okay, will they ever succeed? But a lot of it had to do with the story that Jeff Bezos told his team. But we're going to get into that in a moment. The thing is, that was a time where it's so easy just to put out content, put out stories, and get seen. And we were very fortunate in the time that we were really heavily involved that we published millions of words online. We wrote a couple of New York Times bestsellers, as Fernando alluded to. A number of our books, really defined the industry. We coined the term conversion rate optimization and bounce rate, all these words for an industry that didn't exist. Only because my brother and I were super passionate about one key thing, is really understanding why people do the things they do, and specifically online. One of my claims to fame, and you might want to remember this later, is that Seth Godin called my book cover God awful, and that helped turn that into a New York Times bestseller. And he said, drop everything you're doing and go read this book. But that was many, 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 many years ago now. Our processes for conversion optimization changed as we saw the industry changing. It wasn't about, changing buttons and just changing a few words here and there. Of course, that mattered. But I've never come to a website where someone looked at the button and said, oh, you know what, that button color is chartreuse and it's not green or aqua, so I can't buy it. I've seen the worst and the ugliest websites convert people. I've seen, businesses that tell great stories sell people. But one of the things I know for sure, and I've seen over and over again, is that there is no chance to keep increasing your sales if you've got a broken story. And if a broken story is not going to be fixed by an AI, and it could only be fixed by human connection.